Proud of the effort of our players tonight. I thought it was important that we started the game and set the tempo early on. And to have a senior like Cornelder make an interception on the first drive of the game, I think is what you want your older guys, your experienced guys to do. And I think the other guys fed on that. I was very impressed with the way we played up front. I think what we wanted to be as a defense in terms of the way we're getting our feet across the line of scrimmage, being disruptive, making plays in the backfield that looked for most of the game that they had a hard time getting the ball back to the line of scrimmage against our rush defense. I felt like there was a time in the second period where we lost our focus. I thought our tackling started to slip a little bit, and we challenged them at halftime to play to our standard. And I thought in the second half, regardless of the people that we rolled in and out the game, I thought they did a good job finishing the game. We played a ton of people tonight. We were on the field for it was a very unusual night with the rushing yard disparity and the time of possession disparity. So we played most of the night on defense. So our depth was tested very early on, and I thought I was very proud of the guys that weren't out there the first play of the game, our backups who played like starters for most of the night. Questions?
Manny, how tough is it for you to not get wrapped up in the emotion of the first game here and all those good things and just kind of stay focused on the task?
You know, when the bus pulls into the parking lot and you saw the crowd, and we had an outstanding cane walk. At that moment, you know, it can tug on you a little bit, but once you're out there and they put that ball on the tee, it's ball, you know, and it's just getting those guys, you know, and just that just where you see the attack from the guys and just the way we pursued the football, you know, and I thought, like I said, the way we started the game was very pleasing.
Manny, what did you see from the third quarter? You guys held them to negative yards. What did you see from your defense that quarter?
Well, that's what we challenged them, you know, because at halftime, you know, you have to be able to handle success the same way you have to handle adversity. So, you know, the scoreboard favored us. We looked odds on to win at the half, but we put that away. We put the scoreboard away. We said it's a new game. Let's go out there and just play to our standard, because we didn't, like I said, there were some things in the second quarter we weren't proud of. And so for all the guys that went in, if it's not the last drive of the game, just to continue to go in, create the negative plays and keep them off the scoreboard was very telling, because a lot of those guys are going to have to play larger and larger roles as the natural adversity of the season wears on. We're going to need what we have depth-wise. We are limited, but everybody we have, they saw tonight that we need them.
Coach, you were very animated when Corn made the pick. There's got to be a backstory to that. Can you explain, is that emblematic of what we want to play, or just the tone, the tempo?
I was just happy, you know.
I mean, you were halfway into the end zone.
Well, I wish Corn was halfway with the ball. No, you know, because I think you have to understand it's a long off season, you know, and you sit around and you visualize this day for a long time, you know, and then you want the best for your players, you know, and so a guy like Corn, who we've really challenged since we've been here, we knew he had to play his best ball for us to have a chance. And so the first third down of the season, you know what I mean, for a guy like Corn to make that play, you're just, you know, there's so many different emotions, but the biggest emotion is you're just so happy for him, you know, because that's what you would, if you could dream it up, that's what you want to happen on the first third down. You want your senior, one of your leaders in your secondary, to step up and make that play. So there's just a lot of emotions. This is football now. It's supposed to be fun, right? So defense is supposed to be fun.
Along those lines, Adrian Holbert, I believe that's the first pick of his career. You can probably correct me.
I don't know.
But anyway, first of his Hurricanes career, obviously. How special is that?
Yeah, and that's going to do wonders for his confidence. I mean, it's his first game. He's a senior, right? But fifth-year senior, first ever game at corner. You know, so for him to be able to make a play like that, and a hard ball, that was a 50-50 ball, deep down the field where they're trying to take a shot and score a touchdown, that's outstanding for us. Because, again, where do we have the experience? Where do we have at least the age? Is in our secondary. So our guys in the secondary, I thought Carter and Jenkins, even though they didn't have the interceptions, I thought they did a nice job of tackling. Jaquan Johnson, I thought our secondary tackled, which is what we've challenged them to do all off season. And we have to just, now there's a million things we have to fix, but the things that we had to have, the aggression, the pursuit, and the tackling, I was pleased with tonight.
Coach, your voice is up. Sean, is that first game excitement, or is this going to be in every game thing?
You'll have to assess me week in, week out. But yeah, it was. There's a lot of instruction. I mean, just, you know, a lot of instructioning, a lot of praise, a lot of corrections going on when you're out there.
Manny, what's it mean to you at this stage of your career to have a head coach that's placing the level of trust that he's placing you and just say, you run the defense, I'm not really gonna touch it much? And,
Well, I think it's indicative of the way he treats the entire program. I think that's why our players love playing for him. I know it's why his coaches love coaching for him, because he trusts all of his coaches. He trusts his tight ends coaches tight ends. He coaches his safeties coaches safeties. He trusts his players to behave like grown men, you know. And I think our players are rising up to the level of expectation that he's setting upon them. So for me, I'm just a small cog in that big wheel. So. But I knew that going in. That's why it was not just about, again, the opportunity to coach at home, but to work for Mark Richt was a big part of this.
Coach, even though this was one-sided, how valuable is it going forward that you finally now have tape of your guys against somebody else?
Yeah, you got to get into a game and have somebody ask you questions. We see things in the game today that we had not seen from our offense, different formations, motions, things like that. And like I said, when we watch the tape now, the players are going to be horrified because there's going to be a lot of things that we don't like about it. But now you finally have something to fix. You can tell them every day in practice, and they're like, "I hear you, coach. I hear you." And they see it in the game, like, "Oh yeah, we left that guy wide open." So now I get it. You know, and you make game corrections. Good football teams usually make a big jump from week 1 to week 2. Okay, we understand that our opponent next week will be a tougher out than this opponent was. It's imperative, okay, because we're going to get patted on the back for the next 24 hours. It's imperative that we come back with a mentality that we have got to improve off of this performance next week.
Coach, talk about the play of the interior defensive lineman. I think Kendrick blew up a lot of plays in the back.
Yeah. I thought they were. I thought they were really disruptive. All the guys that went in, because again, we don't have very many guys in there. So Cortell, Ryan Fines, Kendrick, McIntosh, those guys, they just came in waves. I thought Coach Cool did a good job of trying to roll all those guys in up front to keep them fresh as possible. But that's where it starts. In the 4-3 defense, it starts with your defensive tackles. And the question I had going in was, would we really go and disrupt? Or game one, would we kind of still stand around and be unsure? And for what it looked like, at least on field level, it looked like we went.
Jaquan Johnson, do you have him doing a lot of things that you were going to do with Grace in passing situations?
We did not play. We didn't play any nickel defense or anything like that today. I think Jaquan played his role at safety. We had a dime package in that he featured in, but that was no. Our plans stayed the way they were 1 week ago. Yes.
The 3 freshman linebackers. Tell us about them a little bit. What do you think?
It's crazy. You're walking on the field before the game. You have no idea what to expect. You really have no idea. But I was really proud of them. That is not very easy to do, because there's no one you can even look to. Hey, how are we going to do this? You know. And I thought the way that they communicated with each other early on, you could tell the download speed was a little bit slower. But the first thing we're going to judge ourselves by was rushing defense in the linebacker room. And obviously, I thought the way we played the run was a testament to the way that those guys played. And like I said, in a situation that you don't see very often.
All right, last question, guys.
It seemed like you trust them on passing downs too. Talking about Quarterman and Pinckney, they were in there a lot on passing downs.
Well, yeah, well.
Is that more so their athleticism or just them in coverage?
All of the above. They're good football players. See, third down, you want your best players in the game. Those guys are good football players. But also, a lot of it's, we don't have a lot of options. You kind of look at the line, and we got what we got. But those guys all played well on normal downs and on passing downs. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.